Hey, fellow Cortanas, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Copivian, and today I'm continuing my celebration of the 20th anniversary of Supernatural, otherwise known as Supertober. Today I'm going to talk about my ideas and just in general a conversation about Supernatural as a game. What do I think would make the best way to do this game, and how could the mechanics work and everything else. So I think that it could be done. Again, it's one of those situations where you got to figure out the story and the characters involved, and also the licensing of Supernatural from a TV show to a game. I mean, we've seen it done before with games like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They've made a few of those games. But at the same time, Supernatural is something that is a little more, has a little bit of a bigger fan base, I think, or a similar fan base is a better way to put it. And in order to do a game of one of the biggest hits of TV would be a very big challenge. However, I think with the game development and the technology and everything that we have at our hands now, both as gamers and as people who develop games, I think there could be a good push and pull and a good, conversation about how to make this game the best possible. And I think that the games that would kind of make this game work the best, I think that, Rockstar has it down pretty well with open world style games. And this is what I think that would make this game really, really good and really fun to play for fans, or even people who don't even know what Supernatural is and would be their first encounter with anything from the Supernatural lore, mythos, whatever. I think that Rockstar has done some of the best open world games, as well as Capcom in certain areas. But I think the two games, in my opinion, that kind of give it out the best, it would be these two right here. Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare, and Grand Theft Auto 5. Those two games showed an open world and utilized the technology at the time that they were made the best. And I think that if you were going to create something within the realm of Supernatural, you could do it, especially if you had to create an entire map of the US or wherever the game would be set in. If you had to create an entire map of a singular country, I think it could be done, but it would be a very interesting tackle, because you would really have to, at some point, keep it locked down to a certain area. But I think the open world could still work within there. It would be a little tough push and pull, but it could be done. I mean, we've seen it done with games like GTA 5, Undead Nightmare, the other Red Dead Redemption games, and even games like Monster Hunter World, where I think that it could even be done in that style where instead of playing as Sam and Dean and driving around in the Impala the entire game, maybe you are granted an ability to create your own hunter, build your own hunter, and throw them into the game's story that way. And that's how it goes. And maybe every once in a while in certain places, certain hunts, you see certain cars like maybe Bobby's car, the Chevelle, the Impala. Maybe every once in a while you might see a character that looks like either Sam or Dean, or maybe Cass, or, throw different little things, little pieces in there from the actual TV show. Now, as far as the gameplay mechanics would work, that would be the interesting thing, because you would have to have almost every type of monster to a degree. Maybe just focus on the biggest ones, like maybe definitely have vampires and werewolves and definitely vengeful spirits or poltergeists both in there, and have it divvied up as separate haunts or side haunts or however it may work. And you'd have to kind of utilize it to a degree the similar way that Supernatural does it, in my opinion. I don't think that you could do this kind of game and just make the creatures look like creatures in general, because having that unknowing of whether or not somebody's a creature or not always made the show that much more intriguing. And when you come up across like a demon or whatever, and I think that you could even have the eyes flip back and forth between normal eyes and black eyes, and I think it would just work. Now, do I think this game would be better in third or first person? I think you could do something similar to what a lot of other games have done and flip between first and third person, where you might utilize certain things better and give the player more control over how it is best for them to play. We've seen that done before in games. In fact, I believe Resident Evil 9 Requiem is going to be utilizing a mechanic such as that when it comes out later on next year. But this would be an interesting game, I think, because people, especially fans, would want something that is definitely open world, and you're utilizing the computer or newspapers or news or anything in general to get to certain hunts. I'm not a big fan of the online stuff. I don't like it. That's just me. But in today's world, I think it would be something, especially if it's a situation where you're creating your own hunter, or if it has an online situation similar to like GTA 5, where you could create your own hunter and throw them into an online world and it's wide open. There's a lot of possibilities, but open world would be the best instead of having just a singular lockdown story and that be the way. You could do it in that fashion. It works. We've seen it with games from like the PlayStation 2 era with movie games. It works and it's fun, but you got to be able to have those side missions in order to make it work more. And having it locked down in a singular city, again, it depends on whether or not the story is working and whether or not the main antagonist is a thing that can stay locked down in a singular city. Or maybe you just hear through the news, your phone, computer, whatever, that, hey, this is popping up in Kansas, or this is popping up in Mexico, or this is popping up in Canada, wherever the case may be, where it's something to do with the main antagonist, but they always come back to the city where you're at for the face-offs. It could be done, but there's just a lot of different ideas and mechanics, and utilizing different ways, similar to how the show did when a vengeful spirit or any type of spirit would, burst into flames after you torch their bones. That would always be an interesting one, because you have to be able to, with each ghost, that would be where a lockdown story comes into play the most. Because for each one of those kinds of things to work, it kind of has to have a singular push for each mission. So it could be done. It could very easily be done. Or maybe even a story similar to like another Rockstar game that I have here, LA Noire. I think that a game that had a lockdown story, but it was a very open world at the same time, and you're still driving around in a singular place, or however it could work out, I think it could work similar to LA Noire 2. But all in all, it's really up to if there's ever a choice to make the game of Supernatural. I would definitely play it. I definitely would give it a go and see what I think about it. I think that it could work. I think that if it was done with the right amount of love and attention, and it could definitely be something special, similar to how special the Supernatural TV show was. But it would be hard. It would be a lot of work, and it would take a lot of time to get down, especially if you're going to have Jensen and Jared and Misha and whoever else come in and do voices for the characters. It could be done, but everybody's got to have the time to do it. And just a lot of, like I said, attention to detail would be the biggest key to Supernatural the game, and not having every creature look exactly like a creature, just, rendered and like a ghoul couldn't just look like some kind of zombie from, Dying Light or Resident Evil or something, or the zombies themselves, if that was a part of the game, couldn't look like any of those. You'd have to do something that is very honored to the show itself, that inspired the game. So that is all on my thoughts about what I think Supernatural the game could entail. I have no clue as far as the story, it could be literally anything in a game world, it really could, or it could just be an online multiplayer where you just go in, create a hunter, and there you go. You're going through hunts, and and every once in a while a big bad situation comes up. But again, for me personally, I'm not a big fan of those kinds of games. They're just not fun for me. But I would like to hear your thoughts on what you think Supernatural the game could entail. There are people out there who create games mainly just for themselves. But what if there was an actual full licensed game of Supernatural? What do you think? Do you think it could be something like LA Noire, Grand Theft Auto 5, the Red Dead Redemption series, Monster Hunter World? Let me know down in the comments what you think about that. So, I'm going to end it right here. I thank you all so much for watching. Always, remember to imagine your dream, create your happiness, and live your life on the edge. And I will see you in that next episode. See ya.